Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a fresh new episode of Knock Off the Perch, a Manchester United podcast where we talk everything Manchester United. In this episode, we will be talking about Ruud van Nistelrooy's time at Man United, the four matches he went through unbeaten, and we'll be talking about a new manager, Ruben Amorim. Hi, Aruj. What's up? How have you been?
All good. I think over the international break, we decided to take a good long break as well. I think work and other things have been keeping both of us busy. But that said, now we are back, and I think this is the real meat of the season, right? Uh, Three international breaks are done from here on till January. I think a lot of matches will come our way, and as Sir Alex used to sort of call out as part of his manage during his managerial career, Christmas is the most important period, and I hope under Amrim we are able to win most of those. But before we talk about Ruben Amorim, I think a lot of kudos to Ruud van Nistelrooy for steering our ship a little bit. We obviously were in a bit of a difficult water when Erik Ten Hag left. There were some performances where we were not getting the right results. I wouldn't comment too much on the performances under Ruud, but at least he was able to get some of the results in place. Three wins, a draw. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the club was left in a lot of uncertainty once Erik Ten Hag left when he left. We discussed how West Ham was probably a game where we was very unlucky not to win. We played brilliantly in that game. There was a bad run of luck which United was going through, which I feel eventually came our way when Ruud came up. Obviously, Ruud made some minor changes to the squad, to our style of not too much to our style of play, but yeah, just you could see that the players were a bit more confident, a bit more open. We saw a lot of players smiling a lot. Even when Ruud was leaving, we saw a lot of players comment that the club should do something for Ruud and maybe he might stay and whatnot. There were a few rumors like that. So he did endear himself to the players, and it I think it came from a place wherein he has been a legend of the club. He has scored numerous goals, and this season when he came in, it was a complete change of the management, and I think all the players were endeared towards Root. They all respected him very well, and kudos to him. He didn't drastically change anything. He made minor tweaks and was able to, go out unbeaten with one of the best records, winning records of any Manchester United manager.
Yeah,
More 75%. So
yeah,
yeah, kudos to
75% win record, no defeats in his managerial career at Manchester United. And I think I'll just carry on from the point where you spoke about he did some of the basics right. I mean, the very fact that he ensured that the players where they are playing best, he sort of put them back there, and he put the confidence back in the players. Casemiro, just look at the kind of reaction he had to Ruud leaving the club. And I don't think he posted anything for Erik Ten Hag when he left the club, but for Ruud, he had a bit of a message. So, and he was smiling, he was, embracing Ruud van Nistelrooy. So that was there. And again, with regard to the central defensive midfield position only, it almost felt like he's brought in back those two CDM sort of a concept. And we spoke about it before the Leicester game that Ugarte's presence was giving Casemiro a little bit more freedom, and we have seen that Casemiro has that bit of an attacking flair in him as well, which was coming to the forefront. So that was good. Ugarte in the last game was brilliant. I mean, he made some very good tackles, which stood out for me, and restoring confidence in Ahmad. I think Ahmad didn't start the first two games, but he started the third one against POK, starred that one, and even the last game against Leicester. I think that back flick assist to Bruno was top notch. I don't think anybody was expecting it there. So that, and yeah, he got Bruno playing in with that attacking flair back again. So all that was brilliant for me.
yeah. We've been talking about how Bruno has not been performing up to his level. In the last four games, Bruno has been top notch. he has continued that vein of form in his international break as well. He scored a belter from outside the box.
You
The old
benefited
Bruno is.
you benefited in FPL a lot from his goal
Oh,
scoring as well.
I knew we definitely get that new manager bounce. We always do that. Yeah, he was a star in my FPL team. I almost made him the captain, but that's okay. I still benefited a lot from Bruno's
Yeah.
form.
I
And
just thought Rasmus Højlund is going to come good. I got him, but hopefully let's hope that Amorim can do a Gyökeres with Rasmus Højlund, and then Højlund can get us some points. Talking about that, a certain Ruben Amorim joined our club on the 11th November, and the hype is real. Everybody is really excited, I think. And I was hearing a few other fans talk about this period where we have got a young, promising manager. Before having played any game, I think this is the best period where we are not under the burden of any result. But yeah, the hype around him is real. What are your initial thoughts? He has had a training session which was very public. He has given his first interview standing at Old Trafford. What are your initial thoughts?
yeah, I mean, all positive. Like it is hunky dory. Life is hunky dory when a new manager comes on a shiny new toy. All the fans are quite excited. A lot of conversation for a change has been around formation. This time, everyone is very obsessed with this 3-4-3, and he did mention in his one of his last interviews at Sporting that United are a different animal. He cannot just transport one idea to another team. But what we saw in a 6 minute training video, he has very much started training with a 3-4-3. So that will be very interesting to see. But yeah, I mean, all the first steps and the first look of the manager looks well. He is settling into the new club. First piece of business he did was let go of Root, which was a big step and the right step in my opinion because I saw this backroom staff. He has like five assistant
Correct.
coaches under him. So I don't see how Root could have added any value, and you'd want a new manager to have all the right environment for him to succeed. And knowing the Root had his own ideas, and Root could have been a manager at any other club if it wasn't for the assistant manager position at Manchester United. Didn't sit well. It always felt like when Root came in, he was coming for the time when Eric Ten Hag gets sacked, and we need a caretaker manager. The assignment had the caretaker manager written in front of it. So yeah, that seemed to be the case, and yeah, all positives for now for Amorim. We'll see his first press conference tomorrow. Everyone is quite confident. We have players returning from international break now,
Multiple of
so
those. Yeah.
yeah, so we will have like 2-3 training sessions before his first game. Let's see how many of his ideas he can inculcate within these 3-4 days before our first game.
Yeah. Yeah, he did speak about the fact that he can't transport the same idea, same identity to a club like Manchester United. But in subsequent interviews, the fact that he also spoke about, I will start with something that I know really well, that I am aware of how to get it going. So I am pretty certain that we start with the 3-4-3 setup, and that is the idea, identity he was talking about when even in the first Manchester United interview that our results performance will come. We will probably, it might take some time, but we don't have a lot of time, so all of these factors were there, but he said that idea all of you will be able to see. So I think that is a big point that everybody is looking forward to. How is it that we take that into account? On that note, what we wanted to do was we also wanted to sort of chart out how his career at Sporting was, and that is a pretty interesting one. And even before we get into the details of how some of the seasons etc played out, the very fact that he at I think 31 is when he retired from professional football. He started taking up licenses I think back in 2018 under Mourinho. He was at Manchester United doing an internship, so all those small little connections are there. uh, oh, that reminds me, I have a small trivia for you. Ruben Amorim was involved in two World Cup squads for Portugal, 14 and
Hmm.
10, 2010 and 2014. In 2010, initially he was not selected. He was part of the six-man wait list, but eventually he got a call up because one of the ex-United players were,
Gotten.
yeah, they got an injury. I think you know the answer. You're smiling. So
It's Nani, isn't it?
yeah, it's Nani. So yeah,
Yeah.
he there's a bit of these lingering connections that he has always had with Manchester United. I think he played with Lindelof at Benfica. He managed Ugarte, so I think he knows some of those players as well. But yeah, the most fascinating part for me was that he came through the ranks at Braga, where he was managing, I think, their League Three team, and did really well there. Came up to League One and was barely there for 3 4 months. And Sporting decided to pay a 10 million release clause for him to get him in March of 2019, and the
Yeah.
or March of 20, March of 20,
2020. Yeah.
yeah, March of 20 he came in and he got them and won the league after 18 19 years in the very next season. And it just amazes me how can they pay a 10 million fee. That's like the third highest fee for any manager that has been paid in a league where the players don't go for more than 20 30 million. I don't know what is the behind the scenes the thing that they knew about him, but yeah, that itself is fascinating for me.
Oh yeah, he was brilliant when he was at Casa Pia as well. When he came via Braga, by the way, he almost managed Bruno Fernandes also. Bruno Fernandes came to us in January 2020. He was appointed in March 2020, so he basically just missed
Yeah.
Bruno managing Bruno as well. That connection would have also been there. But yeah, Sporting definitely went for the kill because it had been what 19 years that they hadn't won the title. That is where I felt, this man is someone who can be charged with assignment which is tough, even though Portuguese league is a three team league. He did make Sporting tick, and and his numbers have been great. I mean, you talked about how very few games he has lost in all of his 3 seasons, and the lowest he has finished is was in 22-23 season where he finished fourth.
Yeah.
uh, of course his performance in Europe has not been the greatest, but again, that is to be expected with a team which doesn't have the most of funds, and which doesn't necessarily go into the later stages of Europa or Champions League for that matter.
Correct, correct. And one thing that really excites me is this goals per game column that is up on the screen. It's progressively getting better. In 2021, pretty much close to 2 goals a game. That continued for 21-22 season. Then it went up to 2.13, and in the last season, it went up to 2.6. And the 31 games he was here, sorry, the 18 games in this season that he was there at Sporting, it went up to 3.11. So that's just fascinating. I mean, progressively he's getting better as an attacking manager, which is something really to look forward to, because that is one area that United has been lacking in, right? We haven't been able to finish that well. He has made Gyökeres this monster that he is at this point in time, probably the most sought after forward. His numbers are maybe just behind Erling Haaland at this stage in Europe. So that's top notch. One thing that I just wanted to sort of call out, and you did that, Ruben Amorim, as much as we are looking at him as someone who will drastically change the squad. It's not going to be easy. I mean, although he got like first and second position finish in his first proper full seasons at Sporting, but the third season it was bit of a low where although fourth is a good finish, but in Portuguese league you qualify for Europa based on that, so he couldn't earn Champions League qualification that season. And even some of his stats in terms of conceding number of goals, sort of they were conceding more than a goal a game that season. So obviously we haven't read the sporting team about the sporting team in detail, so we don't know what was going through. But every manager has these phases where they do well, where they don't do so well. But all in all, I think the record is very solid for Ruben Amorim.
No, definitely. Even in the season, I believe he didn't do great. I believe it has something to do with Sporting being a seller club.
Yeah,
They had a lot of players who they lost. In fact, Ugarte moved to PSG in that season.
yeah,
Uh, no, Mendes moved to Premier League in that season. So he did lose a lot of key players in that season. So maybe that was the factor in which they didn't finish in the top two, top three, losing their best players. But you
yeah,
have to you have to see the how he has reinvented the team, how he has made a lot of players into better players, and that is something which stands out for me. That he's been a player manager through and through. He hasn't relied upon a heavy war chest to win matches, but he has somehow inculcated his ideas and ingrained them in his players were very who were very they knew what they had to do. Even in the match against City, I saw the couple of goals they scored. They scored one goal right from the second half, I believe, and
mm,
it was a great possession-based goal. And where everyone knew their positions, everyone knew how to attack City. I mean, City didn't know what hit them, even though like he was very humble in his
yeah,
post-match conference, wherein he said that it was a lucky win.
yeah.
Still beating City 4-1 in Champions League is no mean feat when you know that how much investment has gone into City as well, right?
Yeah, no, no. On that note, I also wanted to talk about that he is a very pleasing personality. I mean, Eric Ten Hag had a bit of a stern personality about him. He didn't come across as very friendly. But I think Ruben Amorim seems to have a very friendly personality. Right before the City game, when he talked about, if I win, I'm the next Sir Alex, and if I lose, the English media is going to be all after me. So I think it almost like he has this with a sly smile. He would say the things that he wants to, and also very very tight knit with his players. I mean, we saw the kind of farewell that the players gave him after that game against Braga, where they pretty much in the last 10 minutes won that game, and I think that was out of just for Ruben Amorim, we need to go ahead and win this. It just felt like that. So I hope that the camaraderie between him and the players, also he's not very old to the players, so I think that might help. Should be a good win. He won two leagues and also won two cups in the Portugal, the FA Cup equivalent, so to say, uh, which is also very similar to our uh, previous manager Eric Ten Hag. And I know we need not delve a lot into the past, but just wanted to call out that when Eric Ten Hag came at United from Ajax, his record then and Amorim's record at Sporting is eerily very similar. I mean, early 70 percentage win percentage for both, two plus goals per game for both, less than one goals against per game, both in that 0.87, 0.85 sort of a range. Uh, Eric Ten Hag had won two cups, a Super Cup, and three leagues. Amorim has won two cups, a Super Cup, and two leagues. So slightly better, one can argue, for Eric Ten Hag. In Europe, again, both of them haven't had a win in Europe as yet, but Eric Ten Hag had that one brilliant season where he almost reached the final of the Champions League, but only for Lucas Moura to snatch it from them at the very end. But although I'm posing it as a question in terms of is Amorim really better than Eric Ten Hag, I don't want to get into manager comparisons at this stage. What I think is my initial thought is that we have seen this trajectory. We have been very
Hmm.
happy with the manager who comes in with a tactically progressive thought process, who has tactically outmuscled the likes of Juventus, Real Madrid in the Champions League. He's coming in, and now we're getting Amorim, who has done this revolutionized with a 3-4-3 sort of a setup. So we are pretty much in some sort of a same boat where we were close to 3 years back, 2.5, 3 years back, and we are again setting up Amorim with all this hype. So it's important for us to back the manager, but we need to be cognizant of the fact that there are other issues at United which make it a difficult job. It's a job that everybody has their eyes on. You have a statement about United, and you will get thousands of clicks, lakhs if not lakhs, based on that. So we all of us need to temper our expectations from that standpoint a little. What do you think?
No, I agree. I mean, if you see the last 12 years of Manchester United managerial rigmarole, we have seen a Mourinho not succeed for a long time at United, even though he'll call it a success, finishing second. We saw a Louis van Gaal, who was very tactic heavy manager, not succeed at United. I think it all will come down to how his personality comes out after the first or the second defeat. That is where the mettle of a manager is tested. His grasp of English is better than Eric Ten Hag. I'll give him that. It's important, man. I mean,
No, I agree. I agree.
Eric Ten Hag was here for 3 years. He talked about his plan. He talked about a process. I till date don't know what that process was. I till date don't know what he wanted. What was the end result he wanted to reach? What would his best team look like? We saw some facets of it in the first season. We saw him talk about transitions a lot, but this guy comes with a very good identity of a, we already know what kind of tactics he has played in Sporting. And you know how I feel these two were different cases, Eric Ten Hag and Amorim is Eric Ten Hag inherited a team full of superstars. He did make a lot of superstars in his team also, but that was a team, that Ajax team of 2018-19, I believe, was a team which had De Ligt on his top-notch form. Van de Beek was playing great, De Jong, Tadic, and a lot of players who were on their top-notch form. Sporting, on the other hand, Ajax were obviously winning during this period as
Yeah,
well. Sporting, on the other hand, had not won since 19 years. He wasn't given a massive budget there. He made a good team out of that. So that gives me, obviously, we cannot compare a Portuguese league and a Eredivisie. But yeah, Premier League is another animal. English journalists are another animal. Manchester United manager is a post which has eaten people alive. And
yeah,
if every statement, you were right when you said like every statement that the manager makes has to be very presidential, like very statesman-like, and
yeah,
it has to come out in his first few matches. Of course, see the point where Eric Ten Hag and Ruud have left Manchester United, we are still reeling 13th in the league. We are reeling very low on the Europa League team table as well. Upwards is the only way to go. Even if he manages to say win like 6 to 7 first game, we will be in a better position
yeah.
in both the leagues. One thing which you would be very interested in knowing is when Sir Alex Ferguson was hired, United were at 13th position. So that's
Fantastic.
a that's
Yeah,
a that's a good trivia which I wanted to tell you. So some hope it gives me that maybe this is, of course, we have repeated this every 3 years. We've been hopeful every 3 years that a new manager bounce will see for an extended period of time. But yeah, I mean, all loads of luck to this guy. Let's see what he brings to United.
yeah. You talked about the tactics that he brings in, and let's talk about that a little bit. We know for a fact, and it's been widely sort of spoken about the fact that he loves a 3-4-3. And let's maybe try and figure out how is it that this United team with all players available could sort of feature in that. And I won't spend too much time on the goalkeeping thing. I think all of us know that it is Andre Onana who is the ball playing goalkeeper in the team. He will be starting for us. Yeah, yeah, Dheeraj.
Did you find it surprising that Manchester United released a training video 6 minutes long without any peppy music, with just the sounds of the training ground and all
Yeah,
of our tactics that's like three, like we could see a 3-4-3 employed there. Like it,
yeah,
it was quite
Malaysia
surprising.
bombarding forward and crossing from the left, all of that. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just to create the hype. It's also a bit of a social media game. Get the clicks, get the likes. I don't know uh, how much of this is like really going to impact in the footballing sense of it. But yeah, I think it has got a lot to do with creating that hype. Cool. So okay, what
Great.
what
So the
what do you make of the three center backs? We have on the screen where we are suggesting that the three center backs, it could be a Delict, Euro, Martinez sort of a combination of the three with Lindelof, Evans, Maguire, and if required, Shaw also acting as that backup left center back. What do you make of that? Is that possibly our best three, or how do you think that plays out?
Yeah, I see. Euro is still an untested quantity in the Premier League. I'd want him to be eased back into action rather than bring him directly to,
Yeah, this one we are
directly in the
assuming
first game
everybody
itself.
is fit and all of that. We will talk about maybe the Ipswich one in the next one. But yeah, right now Maguire is not fit. Euro is just coming back. Shaw is just coming back. And Delict and Martinez were on international duty, so it will be a little of a funny one. How is it that he sets up the three center backs? But yeah, go on, go on.
But yeah, I mean, Delit has played in a back three before. Euro has played in a back three before. Maguire has played a bit of a back three when England has played a back three.
Correct.
Other than that, all the players have been very much employed in a traditional back four. So it will be a gradual shift. I don't expect us to be brilliant at it. I don't expect players to be super comfortable. The rotations, the muscle memory will take some time to kicking in, and there will be a healthy time of confusion as well, wherein people don't know which zones to mark. We already have a lot of that, even in the traditional sense of our
Yeah,
back four. We usually see a delete maybe staring at a Martinez who would be marking who, and but yeah, I mean, these players have a lot to get on board with.
yeah.
But yeah, I feel what you said, Delit, Euro, and Martinez, they provide the best back three out of these combinations.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with most of that, and which is where I think the likes of Martinez and Delict will have to really step up because they are the guys who are the experienced one in this setup, and hopefully this can work out. Next, talking about the wing backs, and this is the tricky one because we know that this setup works really well when the wing backs are in their top-notch form. They are doing the responsibilities they are supposed to, and I think this is where personnel wise we are the weakest. I mean, I don't think we have any out and out wing back in our squad as such. I'm sure players can do a job, but here what we are trying to discuss is on the right, the traditional ones could be a Dallo or Mazarawi. On the left, it could be a Shaw or Malaysia. But what we have seen in Amorim's setup is one of the wing backs is the more attacking one, and one of them is more defensive approach, so to say. So it could be the case with a Dallo or Mazarawi starting at right wing back. We have a Garnacho starting at left wing back, or similarly a left-footed wing back in Ahmad or Anthony starting as the more progressive one, and maybe a Shaw Malaysia take that role of more of a defensive-minded wing back. How do you see? And personnel-wise, it's a big challenge for us.
Yeah, I feel you're right about the fact that we don't have traditional wing backs in our squad as of now. But that being said, it will all come down onto who's the fittest in this week and the coming weeks. I do see Mazaroy doing a job there. Mazaroy has shown the tactical flexibility of playing at various positions. He played at number 10 for God's sake. So yeah, I don't see Mazaroy having a problem. Dalo, I believe in AC Milan played a wing back role for quite some time. So Dalo should also be comfortable. Left back is a big worry for me because Shaw and Malaysia both are returning from injuries. And if we talk Garnacho, he doesn't do a lot of tracking back. I have more faith in Anthony as a wing back than I have in Garnacho as a wing back. I say this because Anthony actually has put in better numbers for the
Tracking back.
tackles and recoveries than our traditional back fullbacks actually.
Yeah.
So I do believe Anthony can do a job there, but we have also seen Anthony fuss about him being played at left back before. So I don't know how he'll take that position, but yeah, of course he would want a place in the playing 11, and he'd want to take on board the
And
ideas
in
of
this training
the new
session, he
manager.
was the one who was playing right wing back, right?
That's correct.
So yeah, let's see how the some of that plays out. Then talking about our central midfields, I think this is where we are well equipped. Typically, from what we understand, Amorim plays one sort of a destroyer, which could either be an Ugarte or a Casemiro, and one a progressive number eight sort of a midfielder, which can be Ericsson or a Menu. Casemiro can take that role up as well when others are not available and play in combination with Ugarte, a template which we have seen under Ruud. So I think that is pretty straightforward. What anything to add there?
No, no, I'm just a happy man to see Kobe Menu back in training. Like when Kobe plays, I'm a very happy man. He is one person who I have to thank, Eric Ten Hag, for brought him up, nurtured him, played him in good minutes, and protected him from injuries for a very long time actually.
Yeah,
And yeah, to see him play is a pure joy. We haven't had a midfielder like him in quite many years. He is someone who I think can take the metal of being our next Carrick if he goes on to play for a very long time. But yes, Ugarte is a Amorim player. Ugarte, I think, will have a good, uh, reunion with Amorim, and Amorim knows what the
yeah.
player qualities are. That is one position I'm not concerned about. Of course, joining him should be someone who is a bit more progressive, and we might see a Manu Eriksson or, as you said, Casemiro there. We have seen the back two of the mid two of Casemiro and Ugarte doing well in the last 3-4 games, so it won't be a big surprise to see them start again in the next games. Talking about the attacking mid, so the way we have seen Sporting play, it's usually a winger and a number 10 sort of player playing in those positions. I think we are well equipped in these positions as well. In fact, if anything, I believe Amorim will have a benching headache here because we have Mount, Bruno, Rashford, all of these players who can fit very well in this positions.
I agree. So I think I have a feeling, and how Mount started this season, he looked well. He looked sort of coming to close to his best. He hasn't had the injuries haven't really been kind to him. So if he can stay fit, I feel he will have a big role to play under Ruben Amorim, because that number 10 role is very critical. And given that there are so many games we have to play in some of the Europa League games and some of the cup games, I think he will get that ample amount of time. And you never know, at times he might play Bruno Mount together as two number 10s as well. And if he has to go ultra aggressive, maybe play Ahmad and Garnacho on the wings, Rashford as a striker. All of that is possible. So I agree. It could my first 11 at this point in time, Foreman and the attacking midfielders there will be Bruno and Rashford. Although I know Garnacho has been in better form, this, that, etc. I would still want to give Rashford a chance because, as you keep saying, Rashford is transformational. If he gets going, he gets going. So I hope, and Garnacho can come in from the bench. He's still young. He has that time, so he can come in from the bench and attack. And yeah, I think
You,
in
I won't be surprised to see Rashford playing up
up
front
top.
at yeah, number 9 as well. I think he's a real option to play there, considering that Zirkzee has not been in tremendous form
Also,
for United or for international teams.
yeah, I think Zirkzee in this sort of a setup is better suited at number 10 than a number 9, because he will
Mm.
not be able to bring in a lot of value as that player who can run behind the defenses and catch on or latch on to those through balls. I see Rashford and Hoyland doing that much better than a Zirkzee. Maybe Zirkzee is better suited to a number 10 there. But all of this
Agree,
is going to
agree.
be very interesting. I think interesting times for United fans to see how some of this plays out, and interesting times for us to see how is it that we fare in the league and the other competitions. We are at 13th right now. Ruben Amorim is starting this his stint with 4 points of the third spot, having played a fairly equal split in terms of easy teams, difficult teams have already gone through. We have a few difficult games to come. We have, I think, soon we have Arsenal, City, etc. to play within his first month. So, what are our expectations? Where do you think Amorim can take this team?
No, and like immediate expectations would be he hits the ground running. I mean, it's quite important to win the first few games so that when the game against Arsenal, the big games against Arsenal, City come, we are there in good form and good confidence as a team. Like the team has to believe in the formation, in the setup, new setup, all the players have to buy. And it has been the case that the players have not bought in the setups before. Not initially, but yeah, eventually when a manager is about to depart. So yeah, good noise coming from within the players camp who are saying that it's a good intensive training program. So where United finishes this season is again up in the air. We could finish as up as third and fourth, and as low as ninth or tenth. There has been no evidence of United being a consistent team this
Let
season
me
as well.
rephrase that for you. Where would be a respectable finish for Ruben Amorim? Where the fans will be like, okay, not a bad job done considering where you started and all of that.
Objectively, top six and a good run in the Europa League, reaching at least the semis, finals of Europa League is something which I'd see United do because I truly don't believe right now we are a Champions League team. I've seen Champions League matches this season. I've seen United play in Europe this season. We are very far away from Champions League football. Uh, I would still want us to qualify for Champions League football. Top four would be, the best case scenario for United, but a realistic one would be a top six and a respectable Europa League finish as well. Also, I think again this season would be of a like we have to write it off as a rebuild season already
No,
because
but if we
new
manage to
management.
win, if we manage to, let's say, win a Carabao or a, Europa League, then it's not a write-off, right? If you win the Europa League, you reach the Champions League, and I think that's the beauty of getting a new manager as early as November to say that, still anything is possible. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a manager win two domestic trophies and still being let go. I don't know how much weightage our new management gives to domestic trophies. I mean, Eric Ten Hag didn't leave
Yeah.
any interview where he didn't mention those two trophies.
No,
But
let's objectively look at who is it that, who is above us in the table. So we have Bournemouth and Brentford, who I think eventually we should be able to overlap, given a combination of our results going our way and Brentford, Bournemouth not continuing with the form that they have shown so far. Villa, Tottenham, Newcastle are potentially the teams which could remain in the mix. I expect Forest, Fulham to drop off as well. So if you look at it for the fifth, sixth, seventh, or let's say the third to this seventh, eighth position, that is where the real competition is going to be. So I don't know. I mean, technically, if you look at it, we are just 4 points off third. Even a third is possible from that standpoint. But for me, realistically, I think finishing maybe a fifth or a sixth, still somehow coming in contention for a top four, would be a good one. Uh, and if we can add a trophy to that, hopefully it's a Europa League and we qualify to the Champions League through that, nothing like it. But the fact that we have been speaking about idea, identity so much, and we talked about it when Eric Ten Hag had come in as well. It is about if we can streamline this, whatever he wants to play, whether he wants to play a 3-4-3, whether he wants to play a 4-3-3, whatever it is that we are playing, if we can streamline that and see a little bit of smoothness in play. Like, for example, under Postecoglou, even though Tottenham are not winning each and every game, at least we know what to expect from them, right? So I
correct.
don't know if that is the great benchmark to take up, but at least want to see that idea identity which even Amorim is talking about come through.
No, you'd want to see United play the United way, attacking football without being so leaky at the back. Uh, a big thing which was missing in Erik ten Hag's era was goals.
Hmm.
So yeah, a lot of goals is what I'd be looking for, which won't be easy to come because it isn't like we haven't been creating chances, right? We haven't been finishing chances. That isn't something which can be fixed by a system. Of course, a system can ensure that you make better chances and gives you a better chance to finish these chances. But that being said, it's a big task in Amorim's hand. It's a big task to get our young talents, Hoylund, Garnacho, Ahmad, Yoro, Menu, and how he shapes them is what all the United fans would be looking at and gauging this new manager by. Of course, English media will make sure they eat him alive at every defeat and hype him up after every victory, and that is the nature of being a Manchester United manager. We cannot stop that, obviously, but yeah, expectations are high, and let's hope Amorim holds good on his promise that we will see an idea and an identity when he comes.
Yeah. One last thing. It's still Delict's first season. We are 13 points off Liverpool. Can some magic happen?
Let's see, let's see.
Great. So I think this was a good one. The hype is real. We can't wait for the game against Ipswich to see how do we set up in that 3-4-3 under Amorim and get going. We'll be back with the review of the Ipswich game in the next one. Till then, hopefully you like this new format. Do give us a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you liked it, and do share it with your friends. Till then, this is our perch. Let's knock him off. Until next time, stay united.